A person cannot always control what happens in life, but they can choose how to think and respond. James Allen. If you woke up today, you were given a gift. Not comfort, not certainty, not perfection. You were given a choice. A choice that can change the direction of your entire life. Today's story is about a man who understood that choice more deeply than most. A man who faced moments so beautiful and moments so brutal that lesser hearts would have surrendered. But he didn't. Because every day, from the most ordinary mornings to the most terrifying seconds, he chose his life. This is the true story of Yaqub, the man who taught the world that happiness isn't luck. It's a decision. Before he became an example of resilience, Yab was simply the manager of a warm, bustling restaurant. Customers loved him, employees admired him, friends adored him. Everyone described him the same way. He's always in a good mood, always smiling, always calm, always seeing the half-full glass, even when the glass was cracked. When coworkers asked him how he maintained such positivity, he would simply shrug and say, "I wake up every morning and choose to be in a good mood." Most people assumed he was joking, or hiding something, or blessed with unusual luck. But one young employee pressed further and asked, "How can you always stay so positive?" Yob smiled, not with the forced brightness of someone pretending, but with the quiet confidence of someone who has tested his philosophy. He said, "Every day when I wake up, I have two choices, to be in a good mood or in a bad mood. I simply choose the good one." He continued, "When something goes wrong, I can choose to be a victim or I can choose to learn. When someone complains, I can join them or focus on gratitude. Life gives me thousands of tiny choices, and every one of them shapes my day." The employee frowned. It can't be that easy. Yob just smiled again. "It is. Life is all about choices." He believed those words with his whole heart, but life was about to test him in a way even he could never have imagined. Years later, Yob arrived early to prepare the restaurant before opening. The sun was still rising, the streets were quiet. The world felt ordinary. He didn't know he would carry those few peaceful seconds for the rest of his life. Somewhere between checking inventory and prepping the kitchen, he made a small, forgettable mistake. He left the back door unlocked. He didn't notice. He had done the same routine thousands of times. But that day, three armed men slipped inside. When Yob turned and saw them, their faces covered, their hands trembling, their weapons shaking, he knew instantly that he was in danger. But he stayed calm. He raised his hands slowly. He tried to speak gently, hoping to de-escalate the panic in their eyes. But fear is unpredictable, and trembling hands can misfire. A sudden flash, a deafening sound, a burning ache exploding through his body. Yob collapsed to the floor, blood pooling, breath weakening, vision fading. He could hear his own robbers running. He could hear his own heartbeat slowing. He could feel his body shutting down. And in that moment, on the edge of life, he remembered the philosophy he'd lived by for years. He still had two choices: to live or to die. And in the quiet of that cold floor, Yob chose to live. When the ambulance arrived, the paramedics worked desperately. His pulse was fading, his skin was cold, his body limp. He heard someone whisper, "We're losing him." But he wasn't gone. He was choosing again and again, with every ounce of strength he had left, live, live, live. As they wheeled him into the emergency room, he saw something that frightened him more than the pain. The fear in the doctors' and nurses' eyes. They were preparing for a dying man, not a living one. A nurse leaned over him and shouted, "Are you allergic to anything?" Through the fading world, he gathered everything inside him, summoned one last spark of humor, and whispered, "Yes, bullets." The room burst into laughter. Even the surgeon cracked a smile. And then Yob said something that changed the energy in the room. "Please treat me like a man who's alive, not a man who's dying. I've chosen to live." Those words hit the staff like electricity. Suddenly, they weren't treating a victim. They were fighting alongside a survivor. The surgery lasted 18 hours, then weeks of care, then months of rehabilitation. Most people would have carried bitterness, anger, fear, but not Yob. When a friend visited him and asked him how he was doing, Yob grinned weakly and said, "If I were any better, I'd be twins." Because even after death knocked on his door, his philosophy remained unshaken. Life is choice, and today I choose joy. After recovering, Yob became a source of inspiration everywhere he went. Not because of the shooting, not because of the survival, not because of the drama, but because of what he always believed. You can't control what life throws at you, but you can control how you respond. People began seeking him out for advice. Strangers stopped him to ask how he remained so happy. Employees told him he changed the culture of every workplace he entered. Families invited him to speak to their children. Hospitals asked him to talk to trauma patients. And every time he would repeat the same truth: protect your attitude. It is the one thing life cannot steal unless you give it away. He became living proof that positivity isn't naive. It's powerful. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing where to put your heart. Yob would often end his talks by saying, "Every day, life offers you a choice. Choose wisely, because your thoughts create your world." Close your eyes with me for a moment. Think about the small choices you've made today, the tiny ones you barely noticed. What to focus on, what to ignore, what to take personally, what to release, which thoughts to believe, which thoughts to challenge. These choices may feel small, but they shape your world. They shape your mood, your relationships, your opportunities, your future. Yob's story teaches something gently powerful. Happiness is not an accident. It is an attitude protected over time. Pain will come, disappointment will come, fear will come, life will bruise you when you least expect it. But in every moment, even the darkest one, you still have a choice. A choice in how to respond, a choice in what to believe, a choice in who you become. So if you're carrying something heavy right now, or walking through a day that feels impossible, pause and remember. Life can take many things from you, but your attitude, your perspective, your inner world, these belong to you. And you can choose in this very moment to move forward with strength. just like Yob. Because sometimes the biggest victory is not surviving what happened to you, but choosing what happens next. May you always find the courage to choose the thoughts that lift you, not the ones that limit you. Every story is a whisper of life. May yours be one that spreads kindness.